And we are coming down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Getting Sports with Drunk. Radiver Red Baron here, joined by
The Master's Massey.
That's right, that dynamic duo back at it again.
These are my favorite shows. I do enjoy these. Fuck everybody else.
I always have the that stupid Vine when it's you and me. It's like Massey and I again back at it with the white vans. Like
Fucking stupid.
But yeah,
we're here.
I believe Riddler to join us in a little bit. We gave a little bit of a grace period, but then we decided, we gotta run. We gotta get
We
this.
decided, fuck them. These shows are better when it's just us.
Coming to you, our first show after the NFL draft.
Yeah.
Lots to talk about.
No, not really.
Well, more so that it happened. Like it could have not happened, but it did.
It could have not. Can you imagine? Like they just canceled the draft. To like, all right, everybody, thanks for coming out. We're actually going to postpone this.
All the build up, they build that structure and clear the streets, and Goodell comes on the stage, and we're sorry to report that it's just not happening.
Yeah, we decided nobody's good enough this year. We're sending them all back to college. We're going to actually redraft with the rankings from next year. So. Yeah, we're going to have somebody new at 1 overall now.
Right, and you're not going home empty-handed. We have a voucher for $22.50 at a Papagino's location.
No, Kendall. Applebee's.
The official bar and grill of the NFL.
The official bar and grill of the NFL.
Yeah, before we get into it, I just have to bring this up. I just love, one, Applebee's is trash, but I just love Applebee's so much for just their commitment to like advertising, where they
the bit
like
because they know how bad they are.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, so they go out of their way to like license like a really popular song for their commercials, which is super expensive, just for them to continue to have a trash menu. It's so hilarious to me.
Food is just always so bad.
And
I've never eaten an Applebee's that I've enjoyed it.
And you could guess who was an Applebee's sympathizer.
Yeah, it's Kyle.
Yeah, it's Souls, and like he'll be like, "Oh, the riblets aren't that bad," and like, yes, they are. I've had the riblets several times, and I couldn't even tell you like what's meat and what's bone. You're eating it, and it's like, well, I hope this doesn't like tear my esophagus.
I watched something today that reminded me of eating at an Applebee's. It was the Fallout TV show.
Oh,
and in this. One of the like high and mighty people in the wasteland was eating what I could only assume was a Brahmin. For those of you who watch Fallout, or for those of you who don't watch Fallout, those are the two-headed cows. And next to his plate was a bowl that just said cysts on it, and he would chew the meat and then spit out into that. And that's what it's like eating at an Applebee's.
That's what it's like eating what?
That's what it's like eating at an Applebee's.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
So really,
and you want to know what? I watched Paul come online while I was in the middle of that, and I continued knowing exactly when he was going to join in.
So it's so funny, Paul. We just started, and basically the first 2 minutes, we've just been like crapping on Applebee's.
Yeah, fuck Applebee's.
We haven't even started.
Oh, are we live?
Oh, we're live.
Yeah, we're live.
We haven't done any of our normal show start. It's just been crapping on Applebee's.
I mean, I kind of like it.
Applebee's sucks.
Here's the thing: is it good?
No.
But I think it's great for the price.
I don't know, man.
I do give him credit for trying just so hard all the time.
Yeah. Did you guys do your toast?
Nope,
no, not yet.
We haven't done anything.
Oh, okay.
We haven't even done. What are we drinking?
Oh, okay. What are you drinking?
I am drinking Too Juicy.
Ooh,
whoa.
So special.
Didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Nice. Reed?
I'm continuing on with my last beer from the Von Trapp Brewing variety pack here. I have the Dunkel, a dark lager.
Nice. Dunkels are good.
I'm very excited. I'm going to pour this into a glass first. I'm not
You know
drinking.
who makes a really good dunkel?
Who's that?
Hofbrau.
Oh,
They make dunkels in 12 packs, 6-pack bottles, and it's really good.
So wait, what is a dunkel?
A dunkel is it's like a dark lager.
Ah, why is it called a dunkel? I'm gonna Google it.
It's a German beer.
yeah. Like I don't know if I've ever had like a dark lager that I could think of. Oh boy, bad pour.
Oh yeah, that checks out. I am drinking.
Dunkel is the German word meaning dark.
Yeah,
That is why. All right.
I had to explain to a 75-year-old Indian guy today what a menage a trois is.
Well, you see, sir.
The Indian part wasn't really important, but it also was super important.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite kind of details.
Yeah, right. I am drinking from the Riddler collection, a 2023 Goose Island Bourbon County.
Very nice.
Making out the bourbon county tonight.
Mm-hmm. So,
All right.
toast of excellence. Anybody have any?
I have 6.
Wow.
I do not have 6.
I have 2. One toast of excellence, one toast of disexcellence.
What's your toast of disexcellence?
So my toast of disexcellence it's a backdoor toast of excellence. So
Love the back door.
So the backdoor toast of excellence is to my own Chicago White Sox for being as dog shit as they are, sweeping the Tampa Bay Rays in a 3-game series this past weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And the reason that it's a toast of disexcellence is because it's a toast of disexcellence to the Tampa Bay Rays for losing 3 straight games to the bar none worst baseball team we've seen in 20 years. And because I will not toast a baseball team for winning a series.
That's fair.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Good
And
enough.
then my other toast of excellence, just because I feel like Massey might have this one, so I'm gonna in some form or another, so I'm gonna kind of just jump ahead of him. Is my real toast of excellence is to all 257 athletes that were drafted in the 2024 NFL draft this past weekend and having their childhood dreams become a reality.
Very nice.
That's more of a Kyle toast of excellence.
No, because you're the person that would know how many people were drafted and you know it.
And I did know it was 257, but
Exactly.
because I watched literally the entire draft.
I almost fucked it up. I know we watched the last pick in Massey's car.
We did. We watched the last 2 picks in my car.
Yeah.
We had a new start of a tradition. We're gonna go out and watch the first round of the draft together, going on from now on. And a couple of other people had to head home early just because of a long drive, or in Kyle's case, he just didn't want to be there anymore. But like, what, 11:30 rolled around, and the bar closed at 11. But there were still people in there. So like every like 2 or 3 minutes, I was peeking my head up. I was like, oh, there's still people in the bar area. Oh, there's still people in the bar area. Oh, there's nobody here. We should go. And then we went and watched those picks in my car.
I remember thinking during the drafts, like, how easy it would be if we just wanted to walk out with a full pitcher. Like, they would never stop us.
No.
Oh, man.
What?
It's only a concept art that someone did, but if this becomes a reality, I need this so fucking bad.
What is it?
It's a 5-pack Funko Pop of all of the Land Before Time dinosaurs.
Oh,
cool.
no.
Oh, man.
Kendall, where are your toast of excellence?
I have one, and you guys have probably seen this. I don't know how old this post was, but I just find it so funny. Somebody made a post saying that he and a friend didn't know that like Gronk was a person, and they thought that Dunkin' Donuts just made up a character to like be a part of their new like energy, like sparked energy drinks. And I just find that notion just so hilarious that like one, especially like we don't know where they live, but in general, like Gronk is kind of like that's a known person. To one not know who this person is for whatever reason, and to like for if a restaurant, fast food or not, were to just make up a person like a totally fictional person to promote a product is just so hilarious to me. There's just so many levels to this that I just find so funny. And
what you mean, like Flo and the Mayhem guy?
but I mean, like for one specific product, not even just for Dunkin', just for the Spark energy drink.
That's pretty stupid. I love it. I do have a few toasts of excellence. My first one is to me for winning $50 last night on DraftKings.
Hey, nice.
Because I saw that Tony Brothers was reffing the Clippers Mavericks game, and I hit it before the line changed.
Nice. Good for you.
So, yep. And guess what? I was fucking right.
I have one more toast of disc excellence.
Good.
It's to all the people that post like discs on Facebook and say, "Oh, stack going up in 20 minutes," and then they don't post the disc in the picture.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah.
Second toast of excellence is to I don't know who it should be. The fans, the MLBPA, but they've officially bullied the MLB enough that they're like, all right, fine, we're changing the jerseys.
They should.
They should. It took as long as it did.
Yeah.
Did you see? Did you see how they decided to like fit the jerseys for the players?
Yeah.
Kendall, have you seen this?
No, I don't think so.
This is the first year that they didn't take measurements for players. They categorized all of the MLB players on the opening day rosters into 5 buckets, and that's how they fixed your size of your jersey.
That's just so ridiculous.
So if
Fanatics.
So like for example, like but that's the thing though. Fanatics was making the jerseys before. They didn't I've been doing so much research on this. They didn't change the manufacturer of the jerseys. Nike just owns the rights. The jerseys are still made in the same facility and by the same people. It's just Nike fucked it all up.
Yeah, they just arbitrarily, like on a whim, like, you know what, we're going to do things a little different this time around.
But like, here's an example for you, Kendall, just so you can realize how ridiculous this is. A sports guy was an MLB guy was on the Tony Kornheiser show, and they were talking about it. And like the way the buckets were, Jose Altuve and Bartolo Colon would have been in the same bucket.
Incredible.
Now they would have made Bartolo's like bigger in the stomach, just like a bit, but like it would have been in the same bucket for like length. And not only is Bartolo 5 inches taller than Jose Altuve, he needs longer stuff because he's fatter.
Yeah, that just makes zero sense.
Yeah.
Still very funny. And then toast of excellence to the city of Detroit for the record turnout for the NFL draft over the weekend.
Oh, Madison, you know it.
What?
That's bullshit, and you know it.
Why?
It's like WrestleMania being like, oh, the biggest crowd ever, and it's like you're in a stadium bigger than you've ever had it before.
Still, 775,000 people. That's more than Nashville.
Don't care.
A lot of people. Good on you, Detroit. And then my final toast of excellence is to the Rams for having one of my favorite draft calls. Not even being a homer. I just thought this was cool. In the first round, they drafted linebacker out of Florida State, Jared Verse. And then the next day, or the next evening, I guess. Verse flew out for his introductory press conference, and as they drafted his teammate out of, FSU, they gave the phone to Jared to call his team and be like, "Hey, what's up?" But they didn't tell him who was on the other line of the phone. So it's just a really cool. Hey, you want to announce or tell our new draft pick who he's playing for? And it was just a nice moment. They recorded the entire thing. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
I like it. I like it.
And that's that.
They do some pretty cool stuff with the draft, but they also do some pretty stupid shit.
They do some pretty stupid shit with the draft.
Like, I don't know. Like, just who was the player that like fucking like almost re-broke Goodell's back?
Oh,
who was it? Was it the guy that Tennessee? No, it was a black guy, big black guy. Did you see that though, Kendall?
No.
So Goodell had like major back surgery not that long ago, and the pick like came up and like nobody told him like don't like because Goodell wasn't taking hugs, and like he like not only hugged him but he like squeezed him and picked him up, and like you could see Goodell be like fuck,
like oh shit.
Trying to find it real quick. Sure.
So stupid. Kendall, did you do your toast?
Yeah,
Gronk
just the Gronk thing.
Yeah, it's old news. Stupid.
Paul, you were right. It was the player from Tennessee.
That's what I thought.
It was J.C. Latham out of Alabama.
That's what I thought. But then in my head, I was like, oh no. They drafted an offensive lineman. Guy's got to be white.
You tell it to that one Titans fan at the bar on Thursday.
There was a Titans fan there?
Yeah, remember?
There was a Rams fan, or there was a 49ers fan I was about to go start a fight with.
Aren't you getting thrown out of sliders for that? For fighting with a fan that doesn't hate the Rams at all.
Don't you know we're natural-born enemies?
Yeah.
I just want to walk up to him and say, I have a copy of the VHS for your last Super Bowl in the back trunk if you want it.
Oh, VHS.
I had a conversation with somebody one time at work, Packers fan, and I was like shitting on the Packers, and he's like, why are you being so like hard, man? He's like, I don't hate the Bears. He's like, that makes me hate you more.
You're being a bad fan.
Yeah, you need to just.
You are my worst enemy. I don't think about you at all.
Yeah, so dumb. All right, so I think I think this is probably one of the few times we've all been like pretty thrilled with how our teams have done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was pretty happy with it.
I personally am a humongous fan of what my team, the Minnesota Vikings, are able to do.
I feel like you should lose your fandom just off that.
Yeah, well, you scold in my face, so.
That's true.
I did, without realizing that it was skull.
It was an egregious scolding.
It was, and I do apologize for it.
It kind of felt targeted a little bit.
Well, that's just because I hate you.
I think the only way to pay him back is to go back to Sliders and replicate those exact like wings and beers drank on that evening.
I think so. Oh, what do you get before we get to the draft stuff?
Did you just have like 3 strips?
Yeah. I don't know if there's a way we can like track this when the season starts or not. I hope there is. But what's the over-under on week 1? How many players wear the helmet things?
The Guardian caps?
Guardian caps, yeah.
Let's see. Let's do a little bit of math here, gentlemen.
Okay.
52 or 32 teams, 52 players. How many can be ready on game day?
53.
53 players. 48 ready on game day?
53 times 10 is 530. 530 times 3 would be 1,590.
But it's not all 53 players dressed for game day.
I thought 53 people were dressed on the roster.
No, you have inactive. You have 5 inactives for the day. So 48. 48 times 32.
Well,
do the math.
Hold on. 48 times 10 is 480. 480 times 3 would be what? 1,280 times 3 would be 240. So it's 1,440 plus another 40, which would be 96. So 1,440 and plus 96 would be what? 1,530. 15. What did I say? 1,538.
6.
No, 1,536.
Congratulations, you're correct. Look at you doing math.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you're
1,536, and I'd say maybe 2%.
No, I need a number.
I'm going to say week 1, when all said and done, 210 players will have won the Guardian Cap.
1,536.
You think 210 on week 1?
210.
That's a lot.
0.02. I'm going to say 30. 31. 31 players. 2%.
All right. I'm going to say 0.
Really?
I think nobody wears it week 1.
I think Tua wears it week 1.
All right.
Can you imagine?
Look, here's the thing. I think every number off Kendall is a shot he has to do.
I mean,
I'm in.
I really have no basis. I feel like there's going to be these players, even before professional play, who have suffered more than one concussion, that are just going to kind of succumb to this idea that, oh, this is going to the be-all, end-all thing. We know it's not true, but yeah. I just think that'll be the mindset for a lot of players.
Yeah. Oh, you guys got. I know Kendall's not going to buy one, but Massey, you got to buy one of those Kratos that I sent.
You already did.
Did you?
Yeah.
You're going to love it. It's awesome. It actually fights back. Like most putters don't do that. It's big fan move.
I'm going to hit it.
Yep. So who wants to talk about their team's draft? Mass.
Well, go ahead and get started on the Vikings.
All right. Well, the Vikings had 2 picks in the first round. With the first pick, they drafted future McDonald's employee J.J. McCarthy.
Hilarious.
And then with the second pick, they drafted a corner that's gonna have 0 dropped interceptions or 100 dropped interceptions against Caleb Williams this year.
Okay.
That's a lot of dropped interceptions.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But I'd like to think that it's not going to be an even split. It's going to be like 90-10. No, so I mean, I'll go first just because I have the easy and the lesser to do. So the Bears started off with going with the obvious number 1 overall consensus pick in Caleb Williams out of USC, getting hopefully their franchise quarterback of the future. One of the, as Massey puts it, one of the highest sought after draft prospects since Andrew Luck. Kind of the first sure thing consensus first overall pick since Andrew Luck. Yep. They didn't really hide it, and they didn't need to. And then they went out with the 9th pick, and then what I think a lot of people thought they would do, which was go receiver. They took the third of the 3 receivers that was left on the board, Roman Dunze from Washington, to give Caleb Williams his wide receiver 1 of the future, which is, really good for both parties because it takes a lot of pressure off of Dunze right out of the gate because he will be the 3 starting the season. And it gives Caleb Williams somebody that he already has good rapport with and trusts and likes in that spot. And then they, from there, they didn't have a lot of picks to work with. They only had 2. But they traded back in. They got a punter, they got a offensive lineman, and they got a offensive lineman from Yale, a punter from Iowa, and I don't know where the edge rusher came from. But the edge rusher they got had high upside. It must have been a guy that Poles was big on because they traded, into this draft where they were no longer had any picks. And it's the first time that the Bears really just drafted a bunch of people that they needed in positions that were needed. They avoided doing the one thing I didn't want them to do in the draft, which makes me happy. And overall, it's rare territory for a Bears fan because this is the first time that I think Bears fans as a whole are extremely optimistic and excited. Now, I mean, there was tons of buzz about MVP Justin Fields, and all that type of stuff, and when we got DJ Moore, but
Guilty.
right, and that's totally fine. I was one of them, but we have a quarterback that people think is better. We still have DJ Moore. We got Keenan Allen coming off his best season ever at 31 years old. And we have a hot young prospect rookie wide receiver. We got Cole Kmet. We have 2 solid running backs and a third on the rise. It's an exciting time to be a Bears fan. And it for the first time ever in my life, you can be extremely optimistic about the offense without it being at the expense of the defense, because the defense, the second half of last year, played very well. They re-signed JJ instead of keeping him on the franchise tag, so he's going to be playing with a lot of, excitement and thrill of being in Chicago for years to come. They've got great young core. They've got 2 great linebackers locked up for a while. They've got their edge rusher locked up. There's still some questions on who's going to be that next edge rusher for them, whether they trade for like that guy from Cincinnati or one of these young guys that they still have high hopes for steps up. There will be holes. I don't expect them to make it to an NFC Championship game, but I think that it's foolish to not think that they will be in contention for one of the 3 wildcard spots. And it's exciting. I think it's exciting for the sport in general. I mean, it comes at a biased clip because I am a Bears fan. I hate in regular media, a lot of it earned and deserved over the past 20 years. But, when Chicago is doing something right in a sport, regardless of what sport it is, it's great for that sport. The Bulls are, one of the most winningest franchises in NBA history. The White Sox and the Cubs are 2 of the oldest baseball franchises in the MLB, with tons of iconic players who have played for them. The Blackhawks are an original 6 hockey team with recent success in winning in Stanley Cups. And the Chicago Bears are the oldest franchise in football history, not the NFL history, but in football history. And when Chicago sports are doing something good, it's good for the sport. It's like when New York or LA, when any of those places are doing something good, it's just good for the sport. It gets viewership up. It gets people excited. And, the NFC North is full of teams that people want to watch. The Lions are must-see TV right now. The Vikings have been in some sort of relevancy for a while, and the Packers are right there with the Bears in terms of old franchises and success. I have my opinions and all that type of stuff, but the Lions are great right now. The Vikings are showing that they're not taking an off year to rebuild. They plan to try to still compete. Green Bay is hoping that they're getting their 3rd straight Canton career Packer quarterback, and the Bears look like they finally figured it out with a GM at the helm that knows what he's doing. And I think it's just good for football. It's exciting. It gives me hope for the season, and man, do I need it in this 162 game stretch I'm about to be in. And that's where I'm at.
Okay.
Yep.
Very eloquent, very nicely done.
Yep. And whatever your guys' teams did doesn't matter as much. So take it away. Now go ahead, Kendall. Do you care to tell us?
Yes. Going into this year, a big need for Pittsburgh was offensive line, kind of namely a center. It's the joke always is, the offensive lineman is never the sexy pick, but ever so necessary. And they spent their first round pick doing exactly that, getting an offensive lineman. They selected offensive tackle. God, I'm still going to butcher this guy's name. Troy.
Just say Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns from the bloodline. Troy Fautanu out of Washington. Which was interesting to me because we were talking about this in person. And going into the draft, I was just like, oh, they're going to go after this guy from Oregon. He's a center, this, that, and the other. I had no idea that his draft stock had fallen so much. So not that I was not expecting, but it just was less on my radar for him to be selected. I guess perhaps the mindset was sort of best offensive lineman available, which to me makes total sense. And they followed it up in the second round with actually a center by trade in Zach Frazier. Let me see what school it was, out of West Virginia.
Who took the Oregon center everybody was high on?
I don't know.
There's a question.
Matt, who took that Oregon center everybody thought the Steelers would take?
Jackson Parrish Johnson. Who took Jackson Parrish Johnson?
Yeah, who took the hyphenated guy away from Kendall?
Totally uncool.
He was drafted by the Raiders. Yeah, Raiders.
Later in the third round, Pittsburgh actually tricked me because Pittsburgh has this tendency, as of late, of wanting to scoop up sibling players. So in the third round, they selected Roman Wilson, who is a wide receiver, and Peyton Wilson, a linebacker. And before doing further research, I was like, oh, very cool. Pittsburgh, they did it again. They picked two brothers in the same round. This has to be a new record. Nope, not related whatsoever. Not even a little bit. Just a last name coincidence. So I'm actually glad that I didn't text the group chat about that and make more of a fool of myself than I already am. But Roman Wilson being a wide receiver, I would say not like a major need, but Pittsburgh as of late has kind of had success drafting receivers. So I think there was somebody that they kind of like had their eye on in a middle round with Deontay Johnson going, and just I think the receiving core in Pittsburgh is more or less fine. I'd be curious to know if there's going to be any more free agency move to kind of bolster that, or if they're just going to kind of let it be. But never hurts to have, another receiver, and right now a fairly young receiving core. And then aforementioned, Pittsburgh loves their linebackers, so why not draft one? Absolutely.
When was the last time they didn't draft a linebacker?
It's probably never happened.
That's fair.
In the fourth round, they drafted another offensive lineman. Not a sexy pick, always necessary. Mason McCormick, guard by trade. I'd be curious to know, because I think...
Did you just say guard by trade?
He did.
Yes.
Kendall, there are some times when I really just want to punch you in the fucking throat.
Is this one of them?
Every time is one of them.
But I think to a certain extent, we're seeing that, like, there's not like super specialized offensive linemen. There was a time where there was a thing like, oh, this guy is only a left guard. This guy is only a right tackle. I think that there's a certain flexibility. So I don't know if any of these guys are going to try to be like molded into like, oh, this is going to be the starting center going into the year. I mean, it even could be the Zach Frazier kid. I really don't know what their plan is, but I think there will be flexibility on the line, which was all in all pretty good last year. And in round 6, the Steelers drafted a need with two. They drafted a defensive end and a defensive back, which to me, I thought a member of the secondary would have been a little bit higher on the list of things to do. Not that secondary play was particularly bad last year. Kind of the same deal as the receivers, that they're kind of young right now. There's a lot of flash, there's a lot of talent, there's star power, but there is still a lot of room for improvement. And I was just, in my mind, I was thinking they were going to try to address this a little bit sooner. And maybe they found a diamond in the rough in this Ryan Watts. But I don't know. I was just looking back at it, I'm surprised that they didn't put more emphasis on that, and they ended up drafting a defensive end and a linebacker in the spots that they did. So for me, I was very happy. Everything I think was a necessary pick. I don't think there's any surplus picks for Pittsburgh this year. I think everything was met. and I have no problem with it. I tend to think that this kind of leaves the door open a little bit for Pittsburgh to potentially sign other players still in these next coming weeks. I don't have an answer for who I think that's going to be. It's just a feeling that I have. But otherwise, I was very happy. Kind of a very typical Pittsburgh draft, in my opinion.
I would like to see, like you were saying earlier, I would like to see, and I don't know if there's like a stat out there. If anyone can find it, it's Massey. But like, I'd like to see if there's a stat out there for like, because you were talking about like how like more so in the past, offensive linemen would be drafted and be like, okay, you're being drafted as a guard, you're going to play guard, and like now it's like a lot of times you see offensive linemen being drafted. And like, you know, they played tackle in college, but they're going to take some reps at center or whatever the team might need. I wonder what like the what the percentage of like players that like succeed, like being like put in a different position on the offensive line than what they played throughout college. Like what the success rate is, like of them like sticking at it. You know what I mean? Like you draft a left tackle and you put him at right guard and he plays right guard his whole career.
Right.
I don't know if there's like if there could be a stat for that, because I feel like that'd be so hard to track.
Yeah, and I think part of it too is just it happens sort of out of injury too. It seems like every year there's 2 or 3 teams that you just hear, oh, they're on their 7th or 8th offensive lineman, and they always make like a note of that, like, oh, these guys are really banged up. So they're kind of just shifting guys out of necessity.
I did a quick Google, nothing obvious popping up. I'm not researching it.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Massey, you care to take the Jets here?
No.
Good. As you should.
All right. All right.
Gonna leave it at that.
Massey, you're going to talk about your team, and you're going to talk about it now.
Gonna do no such thing, sir.
You will, sir.
All right.
Real quick though, while you do that, I gotta hop off.
Nope, I'm done now.
He goes, nope, you're done.
I gotta hop off for a second. I'll hop right back on.
Okay.
I don't want to do it anymore.
I've lost all steam.
Kendall, you know what'd be really funny?
What's that?
Is if I make like a private chat real quick where he can't see, I'll move both of us in there, and then he'll just be really confused and be like, did we end the show?
I wish we could remember exactly what we said to kind of just restart us talking about Applebee's when he comes back on.
I know exactly what I said.
Just like, what do you mean?
Private channel.
Like, we just started.
Oh, hold on. This will work perfect. And now he can't see us.
That's funny.
It's such a dick move, but it's very funny. I mean, I can talk about it, but I feel like I'll wait for Paul to get back.
Oh, that's fine. Well, I mean, because I lean on you, especially now, because I mean, one, because you take such interest in it.
I love the draft.
Well, yeah, and 2, that because that you like it so much. I mean, like for me, like I do like the draft, but I mean, my football liking, I think, is definitely more kind of like, we'll call it theory based and strategy, and less about personnel. And you know, not that I'm not like speaking like, oh well, if you like that part of football, you're not a football fan. 'Cause that's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But like I just, that is a lesser focus of mine. So I would rather have you talk about stuff that surprises you, because you just have a better handle on it than I do.
That's fair. I mean, I can talk about, like,
I mean,
how other teams did.
Well, let me kind of, I'll get you started, if you will. Would you agree that kind of the beginning of the draft was sort of as expected in our opinions, and what professionals were saying until the Penix pick. Like, would you agree that more or less things were sort of on track as far as all the pre-draft conversation goes and what mocks looked like and whatnot until that moment?
I would say that a surprising thing for me personally is that the Chargers ended up taking Joe Alt at number 5. He's like, yes, he's a generational linesman. He doesn't play a lot of right tackle, and I'm sure that the success rate at switching players isn't great. But
real quick, are we letting
Paul
back in?
Slater. Oh no, this is funny. I want to keep going for another minute. Rashawn Slater is already an all-pro left tackle, and taking another left tackle is just such a strange move that I don't know. It could work out, but I don't know for sure if it's actually going to.
I feel attacked personally.
I thought it would be funny.
I knew something. Couldn't figure out what it was getting really mad at my phone.
Massey used some Discord magic that I don't understand.
There's a channel that doesn't exist for you guys that I put me and Kendall into. It's not magic, it's just that. But that was the first real curveball of the draft for me.
What?
Chargers taking Joe Alt.
Why, you thought they were going to take Latham?
No, I didn't think they were going to take a lineman. I thought they were going to take a wide receiver or something else or trade back or something.
Oh.
I didn't think Alt was going to be the pick. You know what? John Harborough is smarter than me, so.
Who is?
I'm sure John Harborough. I can't say his name.
I thought you said John Favreau.
John Favreau. I mean, John Favreau is also smarter than me, so that's...
That dude is brilliant.
Yeah.
Plus he got to kiss Marissa Tomei.
Pretty
and
cool.
Scarlett Johansson.
He did a real reverse Quentin Tarantino there.
Guy pulled the reverse Tarantino.
He had a foot fetish and got to drink milk off of Salma Hayek's feet or something like that.
Such a hilarious thing.
Who, Tarantino?
Yeah.
No, I was talking about how he wrote into the script that he could just say the N-word.
Also
that
hilarious.
too.
They're like, how is this part of the story? He goes, it's really important to the story.
This quick thing.
That was the biggest turning point, or one of my first turning points. And then, of course, there's the Atlanta one, and everybody in their middle will be like, "Oh." I've come around to thinking that it's a smart move to make.
Love the pick.
I do too.
I also think it shows everyone was talking about what they were going to do if they were going to trade back, pick Turner, whatever. But it just goes to show Penix was their guy the whole way.
Oh yeah, 100%.
The Kirk Cousins signing was that was their insurance policy. If they could, they're like, we're not going to trade up to get him.
I think it's the other way around. I think they're okay with developing him for 2 years.
No. I agree as well. I'm just saying, I think that by signing Kirk Cousins though, they said we're solidified themselves we don't we're not putting ourselves in a position now where we have to trade up to get a quarterback.
Yeah. Just let the board fall to you.
Right, exactly. Right. If he's there, or if he's there at 6 or 7, and we think he's going to go, we'll move up. But we don't need to move up now to get him, because if they didn't sign Kirk Cousins, they were probably going to try to. They were probably going to have to move up, just for fear of not being able to get him.
Yeah. All right. Now that Paul's here, I guess I'll talk about my team.
No, don't do it.
Okay. So next up in the draft order, I think that was the biggest surprise. Not that.
I mean,
The
there's two.
Jets taking.
There's two surprises that are like they weren't not who picked got like not who picked or not who got picked, but like who picked them.
I was going to say the pick of the Jets taking
Yeah,
Fashanu was a bit of a surprise.
The Jets and the Raiders, just for both doing the right thing.
Yeah, I mean,
two teams historically known for fucking this up. And they both went with the best pick that they could have gotten at that spot for what they needed.
Yeah. There's a clip somewhere floating around Twitter that's just Chris Ballard cackling his ass off. He's like, "We got the best fucking rusher in the draft," just because every other pick before him was offense. He was the first defensive pick in the draft.
Yeah.
And then trying to look through and just see if there were any other like real big surprises, and there's really not. Everybody else played it safe, picked spots of needs.
No, it was relatively chalk until like the last like 4 or 5 picks. Like, and even then, they weren't even like egregious trades. Like, Dallas just went back a few picks. Buffalo went back a few picks. I do love the memes though of how like the Bills are just like, hey, this team we can't beat. We're gonna let them draft the thing that we need the most.
Yeah. And the thing that they were unstoppable with last time.
Yeah.
All right, and that's the first round.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, I mean, there's definitely like winners and losers and stuff. I don't hate what the Falcons did. I love what the Raiders did with their draft this year.
Raiders had a low-key good draft.
They did. They drafted the thing. They drafted the things they needed and what was available there. They didn't have to make the moves and whatnot.
Yeah.
I really liked what they did. I mean, I think for a lot of analysts that I've listened to on some podcasts over the first day of this week, today and like driving around, like one of the big surprise in the analyst world, regardless of what you view of the team, but like I think a lot of people were just surprised that the Giants didn't take a quarterback. Not that they didn't move up to get JJ. I think a lot of people really didn't think that was going to happen. I think that was more of a fan thing. But
they tried to move up for May.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
So, I mean, but like just like the fact that they didn't come away with this from a quarterback just because of like the situation they're in, and they're just in such a shit situation because it's like if you're the Giants, like if you have 2 seasons ago happen again, like what do you do?
Yeah, right.
I mean, you're not going to ride Drew Lock forever. And, Daniel Jones is their QB1 for the year. And that's fine. And somebody will become available, I'm sure. But, I don't know who's going to be available for them at the end of this season that they could look at it and go, hey, that might be our franchise quarterback.
The end of the season? Nobody.
The end of this season.
Unless you're talking about in the draft.
No. I'm talking about like in like a free agent or someone like a quarterback that's available for trade. The only person,
trust me, I was looking to see.
The only person I feel like that like some fans are like thinking about, but I don't agree with, is there's a lot of people that are still living in this bubble that like Justin Herbert isn't Harbaugh's guy, and I just don't subscribe to that. I mean, I know a lot of people like Kyle said, like he took the job because of Herbert. Like, I mean, I don't necessarily think that's the truth. I mean, I think he took that job because it was so enticing. And like the quarterback thing helps, but like I don't think Herbert's on the move. I mean, the only person I could really see potentially being available could be maybe like a Brock Purdy.
No shot.
I don't think so either, but I mean, at the same time, it's like he's got such a stacked offense, and there were more than one game where he kind of just looked like the last pick in the draft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, and he's going to command big quarterback money.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if there is an NFL team that's really good, if there's any one team in the NFL that's really good at just finding value and paying for talent and bolstering a system that anybody can succeed in, it's the 49ers and their counterparts, the LA Rams.
How dare you?
Oh, don't even go. You two are the only two teams
our
that can
counterparts.
Well, that makes you their counterparts.
No, they're ours.
Yeah, but that makes you theirs. That's how that works.
First.
That's like saying like, oh, they're our opponent, but we're not theirs.
I don't need your sass.
I'm not sassing you. I'm just saying you're being a real Kyle.
I don't need your sass.
Listen, this doesn't.
Saying, you're being a real Kyle.
Well, shut the fuck up because I know what you're about to say.
This doesn't fit Massey's narrative.
Fuck you, Kendall.
That's one of my favorite Massey lines.
All right, I guess I should talk about our draft.
Fuck Josh Jacobs.
I mean, yeah. All right, I'm going to go through the players, and then I'm going to tell you whether they're going to be an all-pro or out of the league in 3 years. I'm going to tell you exactly why at the end.
Wait, so I have a question.
Yeah.
So none of these 32 players can be, like, not make an all-pro in 3 years and still be here?
No.
Oh, okay.
So the first round...
The Massey narrative has been pretty fucking bitchy lately.
In the first round... For the first time since 2016, we picked in the first round another Jared. We picked Jared Verse, defensive end out of FSU.
Oh, you're talking about just your players?
Yeah.
I thought you were doing the whole first round.
No. Just ours.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, I'm willing to bet there's a few of these guys that don't make an all pro but still are around.
No.
Like almost all of them.
We took FSU defensive end Jared Verse. Potential to be the best pass rusher in the draft. Transferred from Albany State to come play at FSU. Very strong kid. This kid is not going to be the pass rusher of our dreams because I like the pick. Up next in the second round, 39th overall, we took FSU defensive tackle Braden Fisk. Jared Verse's teammate in college, and we traded up to get him, and I hated the pick at the time, so of course this dude is going to be an all-pro.
Okay.
Third round pick.
I'd like to go on a limb and say that Jared Verse gets no sacks against the Cardinals in his first 2 years.
Man, I would hate that.
We got to remember that's a great like shot bet.
That sucks. Third round pick, 83rd overall, Michigan running back Blake Corum. Didn't love the pick, which of course means that he's going to be the next coming of Todd Gurley. Third round, 99 overall, Miami defensive back Cameron Kitchens.
Great name.
Kinchins, by the way, not Kitchens. Kinchins.
Doesn't matter. I've already decided I like it.
Because it's alliterative.
And that's how Rebecca became the lucky lady.
Rebecca Reed.
Kendall, are you sure this is the one? I already decided I liked her. We're getting married.
We're done. Back it up. We're going home, Jim. I was pretty even on this pick because I know he's going to be a good starter for 4 years and then we won't re-sign him. Because that's just what we do with safeties. It is. It has been since I've been watching and is what we will continue to do. We draft safeties once every couple of years, and they're pretty good to decent for 4 years, and then we just don't re-sign them. Fifth round pick, 154 overall, Washington State linebacker Brennan Jackson. This kid seemed like a lot of fun. He's going to be terrible because I liked him. Sixth round, 196 overall, Clemson D-line Tyler Davis. I had no feelings one way or another about this pick. I didn't really see this kid much in my... It's very possible. Sixth round pick, 209 overall, Stanford kicker Joshua Carty, K-A-R-T-Y. This dude wanted to be around. met our beat reporter for The Athletic at his pro day, and it's like, hey, I want him to come here. Who do I need to blow to do this? And she obviously found out who she needed to blow because he was drafted by the Rams. 6th round, 213 overall, Texas wide receiver Jordan Whittington.
I feel like I'm listening to Pat McAfee recap a draft.
That's all right. What was I talking about? Whittington. This kid was hurt a lot at Texas. Didn't do a whole lot, and I was kind of very met on the pick, considering it was at the end of the 6th round. I'm pretty sure he was either the last pick in the round or one of the last two, which of course means he's the next coming of Puka Nacua. 6th round, Arkansas O-line, Bo Limmer. I don't know what to think about this kid. Saw a thing of him benching 700 pounds on Instagram today, so that's pretty cool, I guess.
So naturally, he's going to have to fight Aaron Donald.
Probably. 7th round pick, 254 overall. Kansas State O-line, KT Leviston. And I know nothing about the kid, so I can't tell you anything about it.
It's KT Levinson Gould.
So yeah, there's our draft. Historically, I have been pretty on par with my selections. I hated the Todd Gurley pick, and he was Offensive Rookie of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, and was our engine for a long time. I was pretty fucking pumped about Greg Robinson. I was like, oh, cool, we got a defensive tackle in the same draft. That's pretty great. But Greg Robinson, that dude's going to be our left tackle of the future. You know how both of those picks worked out. Wasn't a huge fan of the Robert Wood signing when we first got him. Dude was a fucking baller. Pretty much the opposite of what I'm excited about on draft day is usually what happens. So that's kind of where I'm at. Nice. Although I hated the Taylor Rapp pick, and he fucking sucked, so I at least got that right.
Hey,
fuck you, Taylor Rapp.
Just due to circumstances of where people were drafted and what they have for supporting cast and stuff around them right now.
Yep.
Eliminating Caleb Williams, because I think he's the obvious favorite. Who do you think would be favorite to win Rookie of the Year?
Offensive or defensive?
Both. So defenses is obviously just whoever, but offense would be excluding Caleb.
Excluding Caleb.
Mm-hmm. I think it's got to be Marvin Harrison.
Yeah.
Just because he has,
Marvin Harrison or J.J. McCarthy?
Yeah, Minnesota's... Or not Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah, okay. So Minnesota's got pretty solid receiver options. They got a pretty mean 1-2 punch. And then, at least Marvin Harrison has an NFL quarterback throwing him the football. I mean, by taking Caleb Williams out of the equation, I think you also have to take Odunze out of the equation.
I just don't think Odunze is gonna have the target.
No, I know. I'm just saying, well, it's gonna be one or the other. He's either gonna be the worst of the three just because of the other receivers, or he's gonna get the target. He's gonna be a target monster because of the other two.
I think he does fine. I think he catches 4 touchdowns and puts up 700 yards in his rookie season. That's not bad when your other two are DJ Moore and Keenan fucking Allen.
Nah, I'm willing to bet you that all 3 of them go over 1,000 yards and none of them catch a touchdown.
Could you imagine?
What a year! Another Chiefs.
They're all gonna have 1,200 yards, and then Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett are gonna combine for 34 touchdowns.
What a season!
And then
I could get behind JJ McCarthy. I mean, I think it goes to JJ just from the quarterback standpoint, but Marvin Harrison, I mean, he has a real NFL quarterback throwing him the ball. Not a really good one, just a real one.
I mean, as opposed to who are we talking about? That's not.
Well, I mean, Malik Neighbors doesn't have an NFL quarterback.
He won't have any consistency to get anywhere near rookie.
He's going to get doubled from play 1.
And he might have 40 catches on the year.
every single team is going to be like, hey, we're going to still make you guys believe that Darius Slayton can beat our best guys.
Dark horse, Xavier Worthy.
I think also dark horse, Brock Bowers.
Who's throwing him the ball?
Gardner Minshew.
So apparently Pat McAfee just showed up at Raw.
Yeah, he does that sometimes.
And just gave Logan Paul his rings to go into the ring to beat people down in the face with the rings.
All right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, just use them as brass knuckle. That's interesting. Also, fucking Porzingis may have torn his Achilles.
Oof.
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, pretty rough.
I'm actually kind of excited about it.
Why?
Just because I really like Al Horford, and if the Celtics do win the championship, I want Al Horford to be a major part of it.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, that's pretty rough for Porzingis.
Nah, fuck Porzingis.
All right, fair enough.
Although Al Horford does look like an alien.
Kyle hates Al Horford, right?
Oh, hates him with a burning passion of everything.
So good.
No reason.
I hates him
No
because
reason.
when he was a Hawk, he was a Sixer killer, and then when he became a Sixer, he wasn't that good, and he looks like an alien.
All valid reasons.
You know,
Yeah.
Kyle, very, very big on the fucking anti-immigration stance.
But speaking of Al Horford, I would like to touch on.
I thought you were about to say, speaking of anti-immigration.
Hilarious. I'd like to run through the first round of the playoffs real quick, if we can, just a bit, because it should be wrapped up by the time we record next week.
No.
Yeah, I think it will be.
No, I meant no. We can't run through it.
Oh yeah, we're going to.
Okay.
All right. So, as it stands, we've got our first elimination in the first round. The Phoenix Suns were swept by the Timberwolves.
I ain't never been swept in my life.
That's a team that just doesn't work on paper, or doesn't work in real life. It looks great on paper, but they're just, I don't know. I have a lot of strong opinions. I mean, Bradley Beal was really good on a bad team and just kind of never showed up for the Suns at all. Was hurt all the time, and I don't know. Devin Booker to me just seems like he's going to be that guy that just drops like 95 points once a season and never wins anything. And then sticking out west, you have the Nuggets, who are up 3-1 on the Lakers. They're playing that elimination game tonight. The Nuggets have they're that team that just like they just don't go away. I mean, the Lakers have had commanding leads in all of the games, and all of them have been blown. The Nuggets in game 4 ended up, not they couldn't get any shots to fall, but I mean they still managed to climb back from like a 22-point deficit to like an 8-point deficit. They were in the game the whole fourth quarter. It's the Lakers might be able to pull another win out, but I just can't see them staying toe to toe. LeBron James is just, he's looking human. He just looks physically exhausted. The amount of minutes he has to play, there isn't a lot of consistent scoring on that team outside of D'Lo, James, and Anthony Davis, who's playing this whole series out of his fucking mind. But Denver is an Achilles heel for the Lakers. Has been. They're 1-11 in their last 12 games against the Nuggets. So the writing is more or less on the wall for that one, and it sets up a pretty good Nuggets Timberwolves round 2. Clippers Mavericks. The Clippers managed to blow a 33-point lead, but still win the game. Doncic is playing great. Kyrie's playing great. Paul George is hit and miss. Kawhi can barely move. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, it sounds kind of cliche and stupid to say, but whoever goes up 3-2 is going to win this series. It's just too hard fought to have to win 2 in a row. And then the Thunder are on the verge of eliminating the Pelicans at this moment in time. It's a close game. They're only up 3 in the second, but OKC is they're outmatched. The Pelicans are outmatched. They just don't have the firepower. Oklahoma City is just a really good, well-rounded team, led by what some believe to be the MVP of this season in SGA. Going out west, out east.
I thought you said West.
Yeah, going out east, you got the Knicks are up 3-1 on the 76ers. That series continues on Tuesday, with a chance for the Knicks to wrap it up. Jalen Brunson's playing out of his fucking mind. Joel Embiid is not 100%. Tyrese Maxey is doing everything he can to keep that team afloat, but it's not going to be enough. They're going back to the Garden. The Knicks have a great home court. Fans are finally behind them. They believe that this is the team that can do it all. It's like I said earlier, like New York Knicks basketball is playing good, and that's good for the sport. The Pacers are going to beat the Bucks. The Bucks have no Giannis, and it looks like Dame is probably not going to play tomorrow. I can't see 45-year-old Chris Middleton being able to defeat the Pacers all by himself. It's kind of a shame that team really just fell apart this year. Cleveland and Orlando are creating the best series in the first round. Orlando's not going down without a fight. Cleveland is the superior team, but Orlando's playing really well. And the Celtics are just showing why they're the number one seed. They had one bad game against Miami, but they are blowing them out tonight by 20 points. And then they're going to wrap it up in the Garden in Game 5. Kind of hard to believe Miami can do anything without Jimmy Butler.
So it's one game.
Huh?
They won one game.
Every dog has his day. But the reason I wanted to talk about it was just from the standpoint of we're gonna have something really exciting happen, and it's very rare in sports that you get to see like the real changing of the guard happen in front of you. And Giannis is younger. Dame still has some years on him, but he's older. And we're gonna have the NBA playoffs are gonna, if things go chalk the way that they look like they're gonna go, we're gonna have LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, Giannis, Dame, Embiid, who's not really that old, but Embiid. You're going to have Paul George, Kawhi, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and D'Angelo Russell, all not in the NBA playoffs after the first round.
It really is just going to be Jokic.
It's a changing of the guards. I mean, it is. I mean, the Clippers can turn that around. They still can do that, and I believe that there's a very good chance they can. But you're looking at Luka Doncic, Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns. You're looking at Jalen Brunson. You're looking at Tyrese Halliburton. You're looking at Donovan Mitchell. You're looking at Tatum and Brown. Like these are all like the next generation of stars. And Michael Wilbon was saying this on a podcast today, where the first year or two after Jordan left, like the NBA fan bases didn't believe that there was going to be basketball after Michael Jordan. Fan ratings were in the dumps. That's not going to happen for LeBron James. That's not going to happen for Kevin Durant, because we're watching these stars unfold in our face right now. SGA and all these guys, and they're playing at an elite level. And it's exciting to watch. Like you're watching these teams, and you're watching a lot of these younger guys do it loyally. I don't foresee Jokic going anywhere but Denver. I don't foresee SGA leaving OKC anytime soon, or Halliburton leaving the Pacers.
Oh, we lost you a little bit there.
Oh, you still there?
Yep, can you hear me?
Yes.
You don't see a lot of these young guys moving on, and it's going to be very interesting. And I wanted to say one more thing about LeBron too, and you guys can feel free to weigh in. I mean, I know you're not big basketball heads, Massey. I know you've tried a lot lately. I saw this thing that it was somebody posting something negative about LeBron, which is no surprise. That happens all the time. but in a way that has never been talked about. And I thought it was very interesting how LeBron's legacy as the GOAT will forever be tarnished. And in this person's opinion, LeBron will never be considered the GOAT because of the second time he left Cleveland. Because leaving Cleveland, all he's achieved since leaving Cleveland is a quote unquote Mickey Mouse NBA championships, which there was a pretty good chance they would have won the NBA championships that year anyway, because they were a 50-win team in the first overall seed in the West when the pandemic shut shit down. So they were still a juggernaut anyway. But other than that one championship, he got the scoring title. Two things he probably would have been able to do in Cleveland. One of them for sure. He would have got the scoring title. But he probably would have won another championship. And instead, he went to the Lakers. He went to an organization where the fan base still has yet to accept him as a true Laker great. And many of them can't wait for him to be gone. He went to an organization where he suffered his like second, third, fourth, and fifth worst playoff defeats in his career. And it's interesting because it's not taking anything away from who he is as a player and what he's achieved, but just that by like abandoning Cleveland a second time and then not getting, like, at least when he went to Miami, he was gone for 4 years and went to 4 straight NBA finals and won 2.
Right.
But with the Lakers, he hasn't had that. And it's just an interesting way to look at his like legacy.
Yeah.
Now, help me out. Has LeBron won with every team?
Yes, LeBron has won with all 3 teams he's played with.
Okay.
But he didn't win in his first stint in Cleveland.
Right. What went to one but didn't win?
Right. He faced the Spurs in like 2009 or something like that. Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he lost to the Spurs in 2007, sorry. They got swept. Yeah, they got swept. Then he went his first 4 years in Miami. Year 1 he lost to Dallas. Then they beat Oklahoma, beat the Spurs, lost to the Spurs. And then in Cleveland he went to, I think he went to 3 in Cleveland his second tenure, lost 2 to the Warriors, won 1 against the Warriors.
That's right.
And then he beat the Heat in the bubble.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because I think it was from 2010 to like 2016, LeBron was in like every finals.
It's a good thing for basketball and for forever the like LeBron GOAT conversation, because I like the dynamic of a guy who's been to a bunch of finals but has not had a lot of success versus like Michael Jordan, who played in 6 and basically won decidedly.
It's the Montana Brady argument.
Yeah, I kind of like that. You know, it does create like it is something that I don't know if will ever be like, oh, this is definitive. I think we'll all have our opinions, and I think we're all kind of like Jordan leaning on this show anyway. I mean, I don't think anybody. Matt,
Yeah, it's tough because it's like it's tough too because of social media and the world of sharing everything. It's a bunch of people that were around for Jordan and then a bunch of people who grew up with LeBron.
Right.
And like, but that's the thing that's like interesting about the NBA, because like if you listen to like people who really know the NBA, like most people say it comes down to those two, but like there's a lot of arguments to be made for Kobe Bryant. There's a lot of arguments to be made for Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell and Magic Johnson and all these other types of guys. Like, you know, I mean, Wilt Chamberlain has records that are never going to be sniffed. You know, I mean, Kobe three-peated and then back-to-back to win 5 championships in his NBA career, you know, and is, you know, arguably the greatest Laker of all time, the most historic NBA franchise.
Yeah.
It's very tough. I mean, the thing with the NBA is just because of the NBA, like the NHL, unlike baseball, unlike football, is you have multiple people on the court or in the rink that are on there that some are really good at both things, some are elite at one thing and terrible at the other. You know, I mean, like LeBron is all around superior to Michael Jordan. I don't think any real person who knows basketball through and through will argue differently. LeBron's a better facilitator of the basketball. He's a better playmaker. He's a better rebounder. You know, but LeBron couldn't hold, huh?
I'm a 3-point shooter.
Yeah, he's a better 3-point shooter statistically. He's a physically more dominant player, but
also bigger than Jordan.
Right, he's bigger than Jordan, but like, you know, Jordan scored at will.
Yeah,
and you know, and I think a lot of it too. I mean, LeBron couldn't hold Michael Jordan's jockstrap when it comes to defense. LeBron can play good defense, but Michael Jordan was.
He was defensive player of the year, like what, 4 times?
Well, I believe he's the. I think they're.
He's the last player to be the scoring champion, defensive player of the year, and MVP, isn't he?
It's something more than that. What was it?
So
no, Akeem Olajuwon is the only player in NBA history to receive all 3 MVPs. Defensive player of the year, MVP, and finals MVP. He did that in 94. Jordan is the scoring title, defensive player of the year, and finals MVP.
Man, talk about cleaning up.
That. Huh?
So talk about cleaning up.
That is pretty good.
Yeah, it's just it's tough because it's like, you know, and then I mean, then if you get into the analytics about like defenses faced and like Hall of Famers and all this stuff, but it's like I think something to be said too is like, you know, like, oh, the amount of like potential Hall of Famers that LeBron James has faced in his NBA career versus like in like the finals versus like what LeBron or what Jordan faced, but like Jordan also played in an era where like you didn't bounce around the NBA like crazy, and teams were built and you know, like Karl Malone and John Stockton played with the Jazz for the entire tenure of their prime careers, and because of it, went to 2 NBA finals.
Yeah, it's an unfair comparison because the industry was just different.
Right, LeBron faced Kevin Durant in separate finals for separate teams. You know what I mean? Like that's why the Spurs were so good, because Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili stuck together for, you know, 12, 11 years or whatever the hell it was, and they went to, what, 4 NBA finals together and won 3 or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, and then before that, it was the Twin Towers. It was David Robinson and Tim Duncan.
Yeah,
and they stuck together. So it's very hard to it really is, like, you know, it sounds like such a cop-out answer, but like it really is hard to sit down and break, because there's so many advanced analytics that you can really break into, and records they've gotten and this and that, and that, you know, like, you know, if you're going to get that advanced into it, then like I feel like it does hold weight to have the conversation of like, well, what would Jordan's stats be if he played 21 years? You know, but on the flip side, like, because this is the question I always ask to people. People go, oh, well, LeBron wouldn't be able to touch any of Michael Jordan's stats if Jordan played 20 years. And that might be true. But would LeBron have the stats he'd have if he had won 6 NBA finals in the first 10 years of his career?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that might not be good.
What?
Uh-oh. Evan Fournier and Jason Tatum just collided, and Jason Tatum is rolling around in pain, crying, holding his ankle.
Yikes.
Oh.
Could you imagine losing Kristaps and Tatum in the same game that you're winning by 30?
Couldn't be me.
But like, because when was Jordan drafted? 84.
I thought it was 86.
No,
but you know better than I do.
I think it was 80. Yeah, it was 84. 84.
So the first three-peat was 87, 88, 89?
No. He didn't win a title till the 90s. Jordan played like 6 years before he won an NBA title.
It's funny. I thought it was more sudden.
It was 91, 92, 93, and then 96, 97, 98.
Yeah, because Kendall, they had to go through the Pistons 3 times to try and get to the finals.
Right. Like Jordan wasn't ready. He was still Michael Jordan. He was still like all-time great, but he just wasn't ready to take on the Pistons at that point in his career.
Yeah, I just had my timeline wrong because I was thinking it was 3 late 80s, 3, and then there was that, he retires, and then 3 and like the
Jordan was drafted in 84, so he didn't play in his first finals until his 7th NBA season, and LeBron played in his first finals in his 5th NBA season. But LeBron didn't win his first finals until his 8th NBA season, and Jordan won his first one in his 7th. So that's my whole question. So like Jordan retired in 98. So, he won 6 titles in what? Oh, shit. I always fuck this up.
6 titles in like 9 years, I think it is.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So he won 6 championships in 12 years played, because he took those 2 years off that the Rockets won back to back.
Yep.
So he won half the championships in half of the 12 years he played to start. He played 14 total seasons and won 6 championships. If LeBron had won 6 championships by the time he played 14 seasons, would LeBron have played 21 seasons? I don't know. That's a good question to ask.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because part of the thing LeBron, because here's the thing: if LeBron gets to 6, it's over. The conversation's done. If LeBron can find a way to win 2 more championships, it's over. There is no more GOAT conversation. It's LeBron James. I'm sorry, but it just is. It's like Brady. When Brady tied, as an individual player, when Brady tied the Pittsburgh Steelers for most championships all time as a player, that ended the conversation, in my opinion, of Joe Montana and Peyton Manning and Dan Marino and all those guys. The GOAT conversation was over. It was Brady. The guy single-handedly has the same amount of championships as one of the most historically winning franchises in NFL history. I'm sorry, Ken. I don't mean to be a dick. I'm just saying, but it solidified.
You're absolutely right.
It just solidified it. If LeBron gets to 6, it's over. He's got Jordan beat in almost every other category.
Jordan never lost in the finals.
Huh?
Jordan never lost in the finals.
And that's all well and good, but if you have the same amount as the guy you're going up against and still went to 6 more finals, I mean, it's kind of a hard argument to make that, Jordan never lost. And it's like, yeah, but he also didn't go nearly as much. If Jordan went 12 times, would he have been 12-0?
Probably. No, Jordan.
But it's the thing. To me, it's funny. Like the flip ends of it is what I'd like to know. What I would really like to know is, where would LeBron's career be if he had won 6 NBA titles by the time he had played 14 years? Would he still be chasing all of this? Would he even be playing? On the flip side, because this would have ended the conversation as well. If Jordan didn't take 2 years off, does he win 8 straight?
Yeah. Again, I say probably yes, but
it's an interesting thing, and it's a bunch of what ifs, obviously, and whatnot. But when you start getting into that, when you open up one can of what ifs, you have to open up all the other cans of what ifs.
That's true.
You know, it's like it's the same argument. Like, oh, Joe Montana was 4-0 in Super Bowls. Would Joe Montana be undefeated if he played in 10?
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
You know,
It,
I mean, it's
it's
one of the it's and I just hate the narrative as well about the whole like Michael Jordan with like all the help. Like, yes, Michael Jordan never won a championship without Scottie Pippen. That is true. That is 100% true. LeBron James had Dwayne Wade in his prime and Chris Bosh in his prime and went 2-2 in the finals. LeBron James went to 3 NBA championships with Kyrie Irving and went 1-2. And when he won his one in the Lakers, he had Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis might go down as the best defensive power forward of all time when it's all said and done. That might happen. There's a real possibility of that.
yeah.
Kyrie Irving might go down as the best ball handler and shot creator in NBA history. There's a possibility that that could be in the conversation. I don't think so, but he's what he does with the ball is ridiculous. You know, he had Kevin Love. He had, Dwayne Wade is a top 75 player. These are all things. I mean, the first 3 rings that Jordan won, he didn't have Dennis Rodman. He had him for the next 3, but I hate that comparison of who you play with. Like, oh, this and that, or whatever. It's like, would LeBron have his 4 if it wasn't for those guys? Probably not. But then again, also none of those guys would probably have one if it wasn't for LeBron, except for Dwayne Wade. He did it without him.
Right.
It's a very interesting conversation to have. But I really liked that notion of looking at his legacy, not looking at his GOAT qualifications. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, like I look at it too from the same point, like the NFL. You know what I mean? It's like if Brady went to the Bucks and never won.
Right.
Would that have hurt his legacy? Not went to a Super Bowl and lost, but never even made it. Would it have hurt his legacy if he left the Patriots and never won?
Probably.
Just like is Bill Belichick's legacy hurt that he was, he's a at best fired head coach without Tom Brady?
No, because I think Bill's tenure is a little bit different. He made personnel decisions that caused a lot of this.
No, I agree with you.
But that roster was in serious need of turnaround when Brady left. That's the reason Brady left.
And I don't subscribe to the whole argument of did LeBron make or did Brady make Belichick or Belichick make Brady? That's not an argument. They made each other.
Right.
The NFL is not a one-man show. There's never going to be a team with one superstar and a bunch of scrubs that win Super Bowls. It's never going to happen. Yeah. I mean,
forever
people can say whatever they want to. Yes. Look at what the Chiefs have done with no receiving core and really no solid running backs and some iffy-ish offensive line stuff. And a first ballot Hall of Fame could be potentially greatest head coach of all time and arguably the greatest pass catching tight end of all time. I mean, it's like there's always something. You're not like if you take Travis Kelce and Andy Reid out and you substitute them with Gerald Everett and Jeff Fisher, Patrick Mahomes is winning 0 Super Bowls.
Yeah,
he's winning 0 Super Bowls. Football's a team sport through and through. Basketball, you can do more on your own. LeBron has shown that. Mm-hmm. Jordan showed that. But the thing I find interesting in the Belichick situation is just that I don't think Brady would have won, what did he win? 6 rings in New England, 7 total?
Yes.
He wouldn't have won 6 rings without Belichick. He might not have ever won 1 ring. I had this conversation with Mike Mock over the weekend. Brady is the greatest quarterback in NFL history, could be the greatest player of all time. And none of that would have mattered if Drew Bledsoe didn't get hurt.
Right.
Could he have still stepped in one time in practice and shown some people some stuff and became a Hall of Fame quarterback? Absolutely. Probably would have. That kind of talent eventually comes through somewhere.
Right.
But it wouldn't have been the career that he has.
No.
But I just think it's interesting when you look at it because Brady was able to go win a Super Bowl somewhere else. And again, it wasn't with a shit team. They had a great roster. But it's just, I saw the stat where I think Belichick has coached 11 seasons without Tom Brady in his career, pre and post. And in 8 of them, he was under 500 and failed to make the playoffs in 9 of them. And it's just interesting.
Yeah.
And I think the reason is, and I said this to somebody, the reason is not because Bill Belichick's a bad head coach. Not that anybody on this podcast subscribes to that. The reason is because what having somebody like Tom Brady, what having somebody like Matt Stafford, or Peyton Manning, or Drew Brees, or any of those types of guys is that allows you to have a head coach that is so genius on his side of the ball, be able to focus on his side of the ball, because you basically have another head coach in the huddle on offense at all times.
Right.
That's where the success came from. It's like it's in my opinion, like Sean McVay is a great head coach, but part of what let Sean McVay and that Rams team be so successful with Stafford and win that Super Bowl was because Matt Stafford was the offensive head coach.
Yeah.
Like it's the same thing with like when Manning and Dungy. It's the same thing with Aaron Rodgers and McCarthy and Brett Favre and who was the coach in the 90s for the Packers?
Mike Holmgren.
Yeah, Mike Holmgren. It's the same thing with Roethlisberger and both Tomlin and fucking what's his face there? My landlord.
Bill Cowher.
Bill Cowher. My landlord looks like Bill Cowher. It's just it's. I think the biggest problem that we face as sports fans is that we too often try to have an argument as big as the greatest NBA player of all time, and we use things that happen in other sports to base our arguments.
That's fair.
What happens in the NFL has zero bearing on what happens in the NBA.
Except that it does.
Except that it doesn't.
Except everything.
Yeah. And what I'm trying to say is everything I just said doesn't matter. The points are made up and none of it's real. It's I don't know. Sports is one of those things that's just been it's so give and take with like social media. Because there are some aspects of it that social media that makes sports great. Being able to schedule things in your day-to-day life and still be able to see all of the great plays that happened that day when they're happening. Being able to check your phone and see what the White Sox are doing in a game, or seeing what so-and-so is doing in a game or whatever. Those things are all great, but giving everybody the ability to have an opinion on something really just sucks.
It's what everything is now.
No, I know. And it's not just sports, it's everything. Everybody has an opinion on everything, of course, but it is I think the other thing too that's frustrating is that it gives people the ability to go into the archives of sports with no actual context of what happens. And that's the biggest thing. To me, that is the biggest thing when it comes to talking about the greatest of all time with like Michael Jordan and LeBron, things like that. Like, so many people that are LeBron fans, they watch footage of Michael Jordan and they see things that happened, good or bad or indifferent, with no context into the situation, the game, the run they were on, what was happening in the locker rooms, like all those things. Like, you see things like The Last Dance, and it's it portrays certain people to be villains and portrays certain things to be the way they are and the way they aren't, and it's just not real true context to what was happening at the time. I mean, we weren't really conscious to watch it, but being a Bulls fan and knowing a lot of Bulls fans and watching a lot of real actual footage, I have a way better finger on the pulse of the Michael Jordan era than the average NBA fan of my age. And like, watching somebody like Michael Jordan play when he did, I mean, my God, it was a privilege to be able to turn on your television and watch it. You know, like watching Jerry Rice catch a football. Like watching Lawrence Taylor fucking beat the snap count. I mean, those are things that you just can't measure.
The words, yeah. There's
tough.
Nothing like it.
No, there's not. And
it's like being there for a play that you don't know in the moment it's going to become iconic.
Right.
But later on you remember exactly where you were when that play happened.
Right. Or even worse is, like I said, with the context and stuff. Like, how many people in today's NFL, how many fans could you could turn on game week 14 of last season, and you put on a Lions game recap, and you watch Jahmyr Gibbs run up the middle, do a juke step off of a slot corner to shake him off, and then take it 45 yards to the house. Incredible. Amazing. No argument. But then deciding to go like, oh, Jahmyr is better than, Emmitt Smith. Or, that's a bad example because Jahmyr Gibbs is so young. But, like, I don't know, who's a really great... Well, Saquon Barkley. Like, and then, like, watching it with, like, Emmitt Smith, and it's like, yeah, but, like, put into context, like, when Emmitt Smith was running that same exact route or running that same exact run and only getting a 12-yard run out of it instead of a 45-yard touchdown, he was going up against 4 Hall of Fame linebackers that were trying to rip his face off. In a time when nobody cared about CTE, in a time when everybody was built to destroy the other person, a 12-yard run was a 40-yard touchdown. It's like watching Walter Payton run the football in today's NFL would be lost.
Magic and symphony.
Right. Watching Magic Johnson make a pass, it doesn't transcend because and it also has to do a lot with just the way we've our bodies and our knowledge of sports health and medicine and nutrition have all evolved. I mean, you see it with like LeBron playing 21 years of competitive basketball is unheard of.
Yeah, it's again impossible.
Right, like even today, how long Tom Brady was able to be relevant is unheard of. There's 90% of the quarterbacks, if other than Patrick Mahomes, there's no quarterback that might be able to do that.
Right.
And like you just kind of like lose sight of like the fact that athleticism and media coverage and all those types of things. I mean, everything is recorded now. Not everything was recorded back then. Nobody gave a fuck about the 1981 Chicago Bears Tampa Bay Bucks game.
Right.
I mean, it was filmed, but like, good luck finding the footage. I can find the footage of the fucking Bears Ravens game from 2018 and watch the whole thing.
Yeah, right.
NFL.com/archive.
Yeah, and it's that Magic Johnson pass that, like you said, Mass, like you didn't know it when you watched it in 1984 that it was going to be an iconic pass that would live through the test of time. And it's lost even more now because we see that pass every night.
Right.
We see it every night. You can't tune into an NBA game now without watching somebody off balance on one foot, fading away from the basket with a hand in his face, throwing up a prayer that somehow banks off the backboard at a 190-degree angle when it wasn't even visibly possible and going in. That happens every night. Luka Doncic, on an off night, puts up a Jason Williams highlight reel assist package.
Yeah.
And it's like Patrick Mahomes, like the throws that Patrick Mahomes makes, like they are exciting and they're thrilling, and he is not the first quarterback to make any of them. But because he does it every week, it's remembered easier.
Right.
I mean, fucking how many people do you know that can sit down and tell you how great Rich Gannon was in 2002?
I can't even do that.
Nobody our age.
But Rich, go back and look at the 16 games Rich Gannon played in 2002. Now, a lot of it's lost because of how dog shit he played in the Super Bowl. But
But he was MVP that year, wasn't he?
He was, and he was insane. And it's lost because now players do it all the time and they do it consistently.
Mm-hmm.
How many one-handed catches do we see a season?
Yeah, it's commonplace.
I mean, could you imagine the actual like praise and like love and media attention Larry Fitzgerald would get today?
Yeah.
That guy played with stickum on his hands.
Yeah.
Except he never had stickum.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what Jerry Rice would be able to do with gloves?
Yeah. And not being hit every time across the middle?
Yeah. It's bananas. It really like we've almost become spoiled is like not even the word anymore, because it's not, it's just what's become routine, you know.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. But it's hard to be impressed.
It is very hard to be impressed, and it's not even you don't have to go back to the 80s. I mean, fucking, do you guys remember OBJ's catch against Dallas?
Yeah, I remember exactly where I was when it happened too.
It happens 3 times a season now.
Yeah. We watched, I can tell you 3 that happened this year. There was the Steelers game. I think it was a Pickens catch.
Yep.
There was a Brandon Ayuk catch. And this might not have been this year, the Justin Jefferson on 4th down catch.
But still, like, I mean, like, it's within 2 years.
Yep.
Right.
I still remember that call.
Yeah. Oh man. Also, like, not to like get off the subject because I like what we're talking about here, but like, isn't it wild when like a sports thing comes across your phone and you're just like, wait, what?
And you have to do a double take.
Yeah, like Tank Dell getting shot.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to tell you guys about that.
But it's just
I was there.
No, but it's just like I'm just on my phone. ESPN ticker. Oh, Tank Dell released from hospital after minor gunshot. What?
Yeah, I saw. I was like, oh god, my fantasy year is gonna be in jeopardy already.
You know what would piss a lot of people off? Is we did Dynasty Draft.
I mean, that's the thing. I would like to do a Dynasty Draft, but like we'd have to start you have to start a new league. Can't just start it now. Or no, not a Dynasty Draft. I've always wanted to do it for our league. I've always wanted to do a keeper league.
Isn't that the same thing?
No, so a Dynasty Draft is you start off doing just a regular NFL fantasy draft.
Yep.
And then you can make trades, but every year you only draft rookies.
Oh, and keepers, you keep 2 from last year, and
you keep whatever you guys decide. You keep 1 or 2 players from the previous year. Those guys are eliminated from the draft pool.
Right. Of which, have we ever done a keeper league? Ever?
No, we always talk about it, and it always gets voted down.
We should do it this year.
I would like to.
Next year.
What's funny is I don't think I'd keep anybody that was on my team.
No, absolutely not.
And like I won the championship.
At my team right now.
I won the championship, and I don't even know. But I do. What I would subscribe to though for the keeper league, I think you have to do it. There's one specific way I think you have to do it to keep it fair.
What's that?
You can only keep a player that you drafted. You can't keep somebody you traded for.
That's fair.
Because then you get situations where like no, because then you get like last year, like you kind of mailed it in, and like there was a couple questionable trades which I was part of, and like I shouldn't be able to keep Jalen Hurts because you mailed it in.
Yeah.
So like,
I would say you have to start fresh this year.
Yeah, so like I would probably keep like I don't even know who would I keep. I'd probably keep like Jahmyr Gibbs.
Let's see. I'm gonna go look at my team from last year and see if I would keep anybody.
Kendall, you didn't draft either of those Texans receivers, right?
No, it's interesting because like Paul, you won with a team that for the most part was drafted by you, and my making it to the championship was kind of built a lot on trades and free agents. Like I mean, I didn't from my day one team was not really what it was at the end.
I would want to keep Jahmyr Gibbs, but it'd be pretty hard not to keep Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, you do have to keep him.
So I
I would.
let's see, who did I
I would
draft
say
on my
we'd
team?
keep 2.
I drafted Brandon Ayuk, Justin Jefferson, Tyler Lockett, Jameer Gibbs, Sam Laporta, Kenneth Walker. I think that's it. Everybody else was picked up or traded for. Man, I got really lucky against you, Kendall. Huh? I had a couple dud dudes.
Well, I mean,
Jefferson,
I think just one
Jefferson and
outright.
Gibbs combined for 15. Well, no. What saved me is I decided that I was gonna ride the Dak Prescott train at the end of the season,
I would
and
check
then
my team's history.
when Brandon Ayuk went bananas.
Fantasy football, right? All right.
Oh, that's what it was too. I forgot. Cairo Santos decided that he was going to kick 90 field goals that day, and Cleveland's defense played the Jets.
Yeah. I mean, my run
How do
was fine. I sort of kind of limped through the playoffs, but I all those guys played well enough to advance.
You showed up when it mattered most, and that was when Vinny had the chance to go 3-peat.
Yeah, that was a big moment.
Mm.
How do I check my past teams?
I don't know. So I think we have a problem with that because, like, every year, like the league, like it sometimes it gets renewed, but like other times things get reset because of like emails and shit. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't understand it. It's like you could look at like your accolades in like your fantasy like not wallet, but like your there's a thing that records like everything you did, but there's like no way to like access like your
Yeah.
teams.
Because like I was looking at my thing and I'm like after this championship I'm still like ranked 8th in the league in like legacy points despite winning the championship twice. I'm ranked behind like 4 people who've like not even made the playoffs.
Man, I just want to see what my team was. Why do you make this so hard, Yahoo?
I know. I mean, here's the thing. I'm fine with doing the keeper league thing in our draft, but I think it's something that we do it. We do a normal draft this year and we state it at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Unless we can get like everybody on board like early. But like we never think about it and it always becomes like a draft night decision.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. B reviews.
Did you see? Always good.
Does anybody have anything else they want to talk about?
Yeah, I'm good.
No, it was good.
All right. B reviews.
GGC was good.
Was it juicy?
Somewhat.
Was it too juicy?
No, it was okay. It was all right.
All right. It was the perfect amount of juice.
It was perfect amount of juice.
Kendall, how was your dunkel?
Very good. At 5.7% ABV, it says it literally right on the can. A deep, rich, smooth, and crisp dark lager, which was completely evident. It was interesting though. Like when I was drinking it, it reminded me very much. If you ever had like, you guys, I'm sure have drank just like ever had just like a random porter or kind of like we'll call it a not as rich stout. This reminded me a lot of that. Like there was a lot of like characteristics that reminded me of those dark beers, but this being of a different recipe. Very good. So I have one can of each left, and if possible, I mean if we can get this together, it'd be a good like tasting beer. So I have all 4 of the variety pack, a can each. So I'd love to review it with you guys, but in general, this was a great variety pack. There was only one beer I was kind of a little wishy-washy on, but all in all, this was kind of a random pickup when I went to Total Wine. I was very pleased with it.
Nice. Excellent.
I found my team from last year.
Okay.
I drafted Amari Cooper, DJ Moore, T. Higgins, Derrick Henry, Bijan Robinson, J.K. Dobbins, Brees Hall, David Montgomery, and Christian Watson are all players that I think I would look to at least take a glance at it, have it come back.
Yeah. It's funny. I was talking to somebody about like someone was saying to me today, like, "Oh man, like this is gonna be like the first time ever where everyone's gonna be like fighting to draft Chicago Bears." I'm like, I would probably avoid most Chicago Bears like the plague, just because I don't know who's gonna be good. Like, I mean, like it's just gonna be one of those offenses where like it's a crapshoot as to what guy is gonna go off.
Yeah, that's fair.
And the pessimist Chicago Bears fan in me says none of them will. It'll be Roshan Johnson. I had the 2023 Goose Island Bourbon County Brand Stout. Still a very young, immature stout in terms of the Bourbon County line. Not even a fully year matured yet. So it's got a lot of heat to it. You do get a bit of the bourbon note. Not so much of the more matured flavors that you get with like the vanilla and the cacao and all that type of stuff. But still very flavorful. You do get to draw a little bit of the oak this year, which I do tend to like a lot, and like those really deep, dark bourbon barrel aged stouts. I mean, overall, solid. I've been spoiled by my ability to just obtain so much Bourbon County over the last decade. That I don't thoroughly enjoy the fresh Bourbon Counties as much, because I've had the ability to taste them at full maturation for so long. But it's nice to have that kind of jumping point as we approach year one and see where one is. And I gotta try to get to Total Wine in Milford or in Norwalk. I think they're still sitting on one of those Angels Envy casks. I gotta grab another one of those.
You guys want to hear my championship roster for Bruce's League in 2017? This roster won.
All right.
Russell Wilson.
Gross.
Yeah, he was week 1 starter. He got immediately benched for Carson Wentz.
Was that his MVP year? Or like what would have been his MVP year if he didn't get hurt?
I think so. No, 2018 would have been, right?
I don't know. When do they beat the Patriots?
Well, I wonder if it was 2017 season, 18 Super Bowl.
I don't know. When did I try to shotgun a beer in Jeff's apartment and accidentally cut my whole hand open?
2017 NFL season was the Philly championship. So yes, that was his championship season.
Okay, so he was playing like an MVP all year till he got hurt.
Yeah. So I had Carson Wentz, Antonio Brown,
wow,
Jeremy Maclin,
gross,
Todd Gurley,
all right,
C.J. Anderson,
ugh,
Travis Kelce,
all right,
Cooper Kupp,
nice,
Jarvis Landry.
She's making a return.
Huh?
She's making a return.
No, and the Philadelphia Eagles defense.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, Jarvis Landry's coming back.
Wow.
He's going to be part of Jaguars rookie camp.
Interesting.
Oh man, if he comes back, I'm going to be so.
He's
immediately getting drafted by me.
You want to be really grossed out at my championship weekend?
Yeah.
I shouldn't say this is a championship. Bruce does total points, so I didn't really have anybody I was going up against. Russell Wilson, because Carson Wentz is hurt. Jarvis Landry. D.D. Westbrook.
Oh, God.
Is this Browns Jarvis Landry?
Might be Dolphins.
Yeah, I think it was Dolphins at this point.
Okay.
Todd Gurley, C.J. Anderson, Travis Kelce, Martavis Bryant.
Nice.
Let's go to the bench, because this is where it gets really gross. Jamal Williams.
Oh, right. God.
Tevin Coleman.
Terrible.
Austin Hooper.
Hilarious.
And ready for it? Kenny Britt.
Oh, God.
I revoke this championship. This championship doesn't exist. It's not real.
The week before that, Todd Gurley scored me 50 points.
It doesn't matter. You started Kenny Britt. Fuck you.
No. He was on my bench.
It doesn't matter. You should still be canceled for that.
He was rostered.
I should still be canceled for that. Yeah, I mean, 2 weeks before that, Todd Gurley got me 45. So in a week where, like, it's just addition of points, I just cruise through this. Because week 14, Carson Wentz got me 35. Antonio Brown got me 32. Todd Gurley got me 30. Jamal Williams got me 30. It was just...
Do you remember that one game where Jamal Williams had like 6 touchdowns?
Yeah.
It was like in 2015 or something like that.
Remember that game where was it Christmas that Alvin Kamara had 6 touchdowns in the game?
Yep, I
And won you the game
smoked
against
Kyle
Kyle?
in that game.
That was 2 years ago, right?
No, it was
I think
3
it was
years
3.
ago.
Oh, 3.
It was 3 years ago because it was that I won the championship. That was the championship game. I beat Kyle off that performance.
That's right.
Then
That's
Vinny
right.
won back to back, and then I won again. So that was
Whatever I can do to stop Vinny because he's my mortal enemy in fantasy now for that fucking dumbass dying on the field.
It's very funny. I'd say I think next year I'm going to bring back the now that he's your mortal enemy, it works out perfect. I'm going to bring back the rivalry weeks.
What are those?
So Kendall, you remember this?
Yes.
I used to, when I would import the live drafts, I would go through and I would set the entire schedule because you know how you play half the league twice and half the league once?
Yeah.
I would set it up so that you would play your quote unquote fantasy rival twice. You'd play them week 1 and then you would play them again weeks, whatever the last week of the season was.
I think Tyler was mine.
Yep, it was Kendall and Tyler because Kendall did have that one really good year, but then there was kind of a stint where Kendall was kind of fighting for last.
For a while.
Yeah, and then Eric
started with a lazy year.
It was Kyle and Mock. I think you got Eric because I gave Vinny and Pat because they were like on the same softball team. That was the only reason. And then it was me and Jeff because Jeff and I would always go at it.
Yeah, it has to be me and Vinny from now on for the championship.
Yeah, so it'll be you and Vinny, and then I'll do Pat and Eric, 2 guys that just don't really care. And then Kendall, I think you got to stay with Tyler.
Yeah, just let's keep the tradition going.
Top alopecia. Oh, that'd be so funny. You and Tyler, if Tyler loses, he has to try to grow hair, and if you win, you have to shave all of it.
Shave it.
No, we can't lose that mullet.
All right, fine. You have to shave all the rest of your body hair.
All right, that's fair.
Already
We'll put you in a swimmer's cap, and then you have to go in a tub of Nair.
Oh my god.
The burn of
his skin might boil off.
Oh, so funny. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it for this week. Next week we will touch base on some more NBA playoffs. We'll give a quick visit to where the MLB season is at. We're getting close to being about a quarter of the way into the season. And yeah. We're getting into that time when we're running out of stuff to talk about.
Yep.
Kendall, where can they find us?
They can find us at Facebook, Getting Sports with a Drunk, Twitter and Instagram, GSWD_4.
Make sure you use the hashtag GSWD for all your daily uses. Whether it's, nostalging over the good old days you didn't ever get to be a part of, or, Dunkle.
Dunkle, baby. Follow, subscribe. We are on all platforms where you listen to your podcast and internet radio shows, Google Play, iHeartRadio. Yeah. Just type our name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Getting Sports.
And if you haven't yet, go listen to our remote show we did with our friends at Center Street Brewing in Wallingford, Connecticut.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
Absolutely.
Good times. And visit them and drink their beer in unhealthy amounts.
You should do that.
But until then, I'm your hostess, Cupcake the Riddler.
Nope. But on the Mass Chris Massey.
And the Red of Red Baron.
Dunkle, 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 dunkle. Yeah.